His Excellency Ambassador Sadiq from the Democratic Socialist Republic of Sri Lanka. The floor is yours.
Thank you, Excellency. At the very outset, on behalf of my delegation, allow me to congratulate Your Excellency Eduardo Ibarrola Nicolin, Ambassador of Mexico, on your election as the chair of the 20th session of the Conference of State Parties. My delegation is confident that under your able stewardship, you will steer the conference towards a successful conclusion. I would also like to take this opportunity to express our warm appreciation to Ambassador Vesela Merden Korash of Croatia for her excellent work and commitment during the 19th session of the CSP. Further, I would like to convey our sincere appreciation and thanks to the Director General, Ambassador Ahmad Usumshu, for his dynamic leadership and the Technical Secretariat for its sterling efforts and dedication to ensure the effective implementation of the Chemical Weapons Convention. My delegation associates itself with the statement delivered yesterday by the Ambassador of the Islamic Republic of Iran, His Excellency Dr. Ali Riza Jahangiri, on behalf of the named states parties to the convention and China. Mr. Chairperson, in April this year, at a solemn commemoration held at Ypres, Belgium, to mark the centenary of the first large-scale use of chemicals during the First World War, the international community was reminded of the horrendous consequences of chemical warfare. However, even after a century of experiencing such painful human suffering, we are yet to realize a world free of chemical weapons. The world is today experiencing new waves of terrorism. With the rapid advancement of science and technology, the fear psychosis associated with the potential emergence of terrorist groups with chemical weapons capability continues to grow, demanding new preventive measures and global cooperation. Mr. Chairperson, in this backdrop, the role of the OPCW remains indispensable and vital in the global struggle towards disarmament and non-proliferation of weapons of mass destruction. The OPCW must be commended for its dedicated efforts in pursuing effective disarmament measures to prevent the re-emergence of chemical weapons and deter chemical terrorism. While unreservedly condemning the recent cold-blooded terror attacks in Paris and elsewhere in the world, Sri Lanka, which lost thousands of innocent lives and suffered wanton damage and destruction of property due to terrorism, calls upon the international community to stand firm and united in combating terrorism in all its forms and manifestations, irrespective of the source or target of this evil menace. In this regard, Sri Lanka welcomes with appreciation the ongoing work of the open-ended Working Group on Terrorism and discussions regarding legal accountability of non-state actors and preventive measures on the hostile use of toxic chemicals as weapons. Mr. Chairperson, while noting the shifting role of the OPCW from the destruction of chemical weapons to the non-proliferation and prevention of the re-emergence of chemical weapons in the years ahead, my delegation welcomes the Technical Secretariat's paper, the OPCW in 2025, ensuring a world free of chemical weapons. However, we believe that measures identified in the 2025 plan should not duplicate activities that have already commenced, but rather we adopt new strategies and mechanisms to face the unforeseen future challenges with the benefit of the lessons learned so far. While verification, capacity development, engagement, and organizational development remain central in the new roadmap towards the future of the OPCW in 2025 and beyond, the demonstration of genuine political will of member states to cooperate with each other by intelligence sharing, prosecution or extradition of persons who are alleged to be involved in acts of terrorism, especially with regard to chemical terrorism, remain crucial. Mr. Chairperson, in contrast to the impressive journey that the OPCW has so far undertaken in its quest to rid the world of chemical weapons, the total elimination of declared chemical weapons stockpiles, chemical weapons, old chemical weapons, and abandoned chemical weapons still remains as a goal unaccomplished and continues to pose a threat to international security. In this regard, we urge all possessor states parties to comply with their obligations for a full and speedy destruction of all chemical weapons as stipulated in the CWC, which should bring the world closer towards the OPCW's cherished goal of a world free of chemical weapons. Mr. Chairperson, Sri Lanka, as an early signatory of the CWC in January 1993, made a solemn pledge to the international community to remain committed to the principles on which the OPCW was founded. Under Article 7 of the Convention relating to national implementation measures, Sri Lanka established the National Authority for the Implementation of the Chemicals Weapons Convention under the Ministry of Industry and Commerce in 2004. In September this year, with the assistance of the OPCW and in collaboration with a leading industrial company, Holcim Lanka Limited, a capacity building program on the safe and secure management of hazardous substances was held in Sri Lanka. The objective of the program was to familiarize the participants on the detection of the presence of chemical hazardous substances and also to create awareness on emergency preparedness and hazardous waste management in the country. Further, as part of the OPCW Associate Program 2015, Lodestar Private Company Limited of Sri Lanka hosted the industrial attachment of 2 participants from Tunisia and Poland also in September this year, enabling them to gain practical experience in a sophisticated industrial environment. Mr. Chairperson, while appreciating the notable cooperation from the Technical Secretariat, my delegation believes that it is imperative for the Secretariat to continue its assistance to developing countries with the understanding that each country has its own diverse spectrum of difficulties in fulfilling national obligations towards the Convention. Further, we wish to emphasize that allocation of adequate financial and human resources in the annual program and budget of the organization for the implementation of Article 11 related programs and initiatives within the Secretariat remains crucial for the effective promotion of international cooperation for the benefit of states parties through the transfer of technology, material and equipment for peaceful purposes in the chemical field. Sri Lanka also welcomes and supports the recommendation of the Executive Council for the establishment of an advisory board on education and outreach and believes that it would strengthen interaction with chemical industry, the scientific community, academia, civil society organizations on issues relevant to the convention and ensure that the outreach activities of the organization and the state parties are conducted in an effective, sustainable, and cost-effective manner. We also would like to emphasize that in order to realize these objectives, the board should act in a fair and holistic manner, giving equitable geographical and gender-balanced representation in its composition. Mr. Chairperson, Sri Lanka is not a possessor state of chemical weapons, nor has it developed, produced, acquired, stockpiled, or transferred chemical weapons. We categorically condemn the use of chemical weapons or toxic chemicals as a weapon anywhere, at any time, by any party. Under any circumstances, as such use is reprehensible and contrary to the legal norms and standards of the international community. While taking note of the work carried out by the fact-finding missions with the cooperation of the Syrian government and the work in progress on the elimination of the chemical weapons and the destruction of chemical weapons production facilities in Syria, Sri Lanka remains hopeful that it would be able to achieve the full destruction of the chemical weapons production facilities and chemical weapons in the shortest possible time frame. My delegation also takes cognizance of the establishment of the OPC UN Joint Investigative Mechanism, JIM. It is our firm conviction that JIM would conduct its mission in a professional, objective, and impartial manner. Mr. Chairperson, Sri Lanka attaches great importance to the universality of the Convention and believes that a collective global approach in disarmament remains paramount for the fruits of this endeavor to be enjoyed by the international community. In this context, my delegation welcomes the newly joined members to the convention, Myanmar and Angola, and urges other states which are still not members to accede to this convention. In conclusion, I wish to request that this statement be issued as an official series document of this nation. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Ambassador.